This is Kathy Chase. The argument which started out on the internet, about the internet, and then they slowly, gradually manipulated public into this stupid wall thing. You made me famous at a trickery without my consent. You've manipulated that to make more profit. The money that's coming in the past couple years has surpassed probably a great deal of profits in the past because people know the story now. People know the fame, about the fame. The whole thing with Chase Spicer and Sgt. Pepper's and the Lonely Hearts Club Band, you planned that. The Spice Channel, that was established in the early 90s. I didn't know Chase Spicer until April of last year, and I hardly talk to him at all anymore. But the fact of the matter is he was a football player for New Mexico State, number 96, the same number as Rico. Same date Randy Traver was born. He's probably one of his cousins. You think you can manipulate my life with old music? Sgt. Pepper's was from 1968, the Lonely Hearts Club Band. The whole psychedelic trip thing. You know, you're crazy. Those stupid mushroom canisters. You base so much off of what was on those frickin' countertops, and you think counterclockwise, and all this stupid stuff was invented for you. And you think you can schedule people to die just because you feel like it, because you're too greedy to evade the fact that you're too greedy. You want to evade the fact that you've been using my life to make money. Why would you let 27 years go by, not prevent any problems, and then stir up all this crap, keep coming up with new excuses and baloney? You know? I spent 20 years of my life with Rob Chase, and I don't appreciate his family using my kids to chip them up, to put me in this position now. I would have never, ever gotten with Rob had I known about his family and their intentions and to my children after having them. Rob is the one that sought me out. Okay? Rob is the one that sought me out. Rob and I started dating in April of 1990. Randy and I had broke up just in February of 1990. And then we didn't get serious until about July of 1990. Amber was born in April of 1994. That's like 4 years later. I didn't trap Rob, Kim, Shannon. I didn't trap Rob into having children. That just happened. Amber just came along. I had postpartum depression with Amber and Sean, which is normal. Lots of women have that. That's normal. Polycystic ovary syndrome. I've questioned having that because I one time went to the hospital with an ovarian cyst, and I had read that if you drink too much pop, then you get ovarian cysts. The whole Pepsi thing with the hope thing, and the definition of hope, which is a bunch of bullshit. The whole definition, the Pepsi thing came from Michael Jackson thing, where his hair caught on fire or whatever. He used to do all these commercials, and so they think they can even cut me up and kill me or whatever. Because they've made so much frickin' money off my life. They don't appreciate anything. They don't care about anybody but themselves. They think they can go around using stupid families. Excuse me, my family has not been bright. And I've had to uncover all this stuff because they were too naive to know what was going on. I'm not very happy with my family because they still play this stupid game with a bunch of imbeciles who want to divert. I don't kill people. My children don't kill people. There is no competition game ever in the history of the United States of America where people can go around trying to kill each other because they want to play color games and the Rosa Parks thing and stupid stuff. This is the most absurd, asinine scenario in the history of the United States of America. And why it's so asinine is because they know why they did it. It was because they didn't want people to know about the money and the internet and everything else, the truth of the matter. If they wanted to keep it private, how it came about and everything, they could have kept, they could have gotten this out of my foot a long time ago, because RFID is removable, and they could have gotten it out of my foot and kept it private. They could have gave me some money, and then that was it. But no, they just keep, all they know how to do is keep causing problems. As I said, this started out with the internet. And now how did they get from going to the internet to calling me names where nobody knew me? Between 2002 and 2005, I was in Name That Tune. How many people in the public really knew who I was after that? Not very many, because I used to drive around town after 2005, after getting kicked out, because it was brought to my attention that Tripphead had made the statement. All he said was, "You didn't know the internet was real." And I was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" So I was thought, well, maybe people know who I am now. And so, because I didn't know about any of the music, the real music, I'm not talking about Led Zeppelin, the origination of Led Zeppelin, because that has nothing to do with me. The same as No Quarter. No Quarter has nothing to do with me and my life. My name is Kathy Chase. My maiden name is Eggers, Eggers, and you can ask Robert Plant about that song. You can ask him how Led Zeppelin came about. He will tell you it was about the Hindenburg. My life wasn't my life. They did off the frickin' Goodyear blimp and songs they had planned, with this stupid little game, because they planned on making lots of money and not tell the full story about how much money they had made. But now it's uncovered and people know, and I can't help it, they're too greedy and they want to play this stupid game. And as I said, they could have made something up along the lines, even when about a year ago, when I first started to I knew about a chip, but I didn't know what it was until about this past year. I was sitting there trying to, it took me a long time to come to terms with realizing what was in my body. It took me about, a good amount of time to, that's kind of a shock to find out, something like that's in your body. And then now all these other things I'm uncovering since then. So about a year ago, Obama had made some sort of speech. It was about the same time he made a speech about Intel or Celeron or something. Okay? That was the moment when I thought, well, okay, they would get me in somewhere, come get me in somewhere, take it out, and then make up something later. Well, I'm tired of this abuse with this stupid yellow crap. I have 3 children. 3 children. I'm not yellow. I'm 38 years old. I've been abused. I don't probably look at my best because I don't have money. I'm poor, and I shouldn't be poor. And all they've done, they keep making more and more problems. And I'm so fed up with this, and I'm so tired of this. My dad leaves the house. He'll go talk to Shannon or Cam or somebody else. I don't know who. And between George Bush and Barack Obama, I don't know who is stirring up the most crap, because this is really ridiculous. Because this all should have been prevented. And hardly anybody knew me, because when I got offline in 2005 and had to Name That Tune, I drove around town and I looked for this, because it was brought to my attention. Okay, I started recognizing music on the internet, on the radio, that kind of, I kind of figured out, well, that's about me. I knew some of the newer stuff. Well, that's about my life a little bit, I started figuring that out. That's what I thought he meant by that, because when I drove around town, nobody would look at me. Nobody would think anything different of me. I just blended in with the rest of society. So they made a mountain out of a molehill, and the molehill was a product of my life, meaning the internet. And, I saw one of the gores, what was it, yesterday or the day before, by the mailbox there, and I'm thinking, what are these people doing? Is this all the politicians I have to worry about, or is it just certain ones? I don't know. I don't know at all. That's why I'm steering my family. I say I don't know who's doing what, because they don't talk to me. And if they weren't so afraid to confront me in person, because, they don't want to talk to me because they'd have to be talking to like a couple billion more people at the same time, and they don't want me to pick up on whatever it is they have to hide. Because if I talk to, per se, Barack Obama personally or George W. Bush, I would be able to pick up on things, and then that would carry out to the people. So that's where the family's job is in, to stop this little game, start documenting, go to the government, go to the police, go to the CIA, go to the FBI, and document everything people have told you over these past 3, 4, 5 years. And because none of this is legal. They can't end my life at a certain time because they want to make up some sort of excuse or say that there was some sort of contract on my life, or manipulate something because they were trying to hide the real money, because that's the fact. I don't hurt people, neither do my kids, and I'm tired of us being used as human weapons and human shields and weapons. And this stuff continues on a daily basis. I want to know, and all I know is what I know, and I don't know what goes between who. All I know is some of this started between George W. Bush and Barack Obama, because it was during the transition of his term as president and Barack Obama's presidency, and this has been going on for a long time, and they wanted to escalate evidently to the point of where it's at now, to manipulate onto leap year and my foot with Neil Armstrong first step on the moon, and then the use Neil Diamond with De Beers, De Beers in my foot. There was a lot of little concepts that went into my foot evidently, and there was the food, the De Beers, the ketchup, the first man on the moon, and all that. So first step on the moon, and then, unless some of that's been incorporated now, because they were trying to use marriage as a way to cover up my life, because they were trying to divert money. And all I'm thinking is, that's pretty sick when you think that, you could have been, you could still be a little bit more normal, and since people now know the whole story, you could still, not be so greedy and use that money to try to hurt me. That's one of the sickest parts. They've been abusing me with products of my life. Sony PlayStations? Give me a break. Well, I said there was radio, TV, space stations, then there's police and fire stations too, because I'd been thinking about all this different types of stations, and basically making a game out of my life. And how do they go from the internet, which was a product of my life, whether they want to admit that or not, everybody knows about it, to the fact that they're trying to manipulate some wall thing in the paper? How do you go from manipulating, because they don't want to take liabilities for the fame that they brought me, but they purposely brought me fame, using the moon thing, and then stars, and then the Lincoln Journal Star, but I'm not the real star from this town. And the Lincoln Journal Star was established before 1973 by Lee Enterprises, and there's a lot of famous people from this town, and it has nothing to do with me. So kind of crazy stuff. But yeah, they all they do is manipulate every day. And why? I don't know, because this goes nowhere. It's just people stabbing each other in the back, left and right. Not productive, not mature, not rational. not appropriate, and certainly very unprofessional. Very, very unprofessional. This is not how you go about things when things are so simple. You make things way more difficult than they should be. All I want to do is be a mom of my 3 kids. I can go, if I have the right connections, I can go make my money on my own. Obviously, it wouldn't be that hard for me at this point. So, you know, if you're that greedy, obviously, you back off. You know, I don't kill people. There's no way you can manipulate killing me and covering up my life or out of a stupid chunk of RFID in my foot that can come out in about 5 to 10 minutes. You can't cover that up. If other people added the same type of RFID to my body, then they should be in jail. Simple. If there's something in my hand or my womb that was added, then those people should be in jail. And my daughter, Autumn, who did that? I don't appreciate that. That person should be in jail. They repeated the same thing twice, more than twice. If there's more than one in my body, then that person, it's traceable to that person. If there's another one in my daughter, then that's traceable to that person. And Richard signed a piece of paper with a blanket that looked like a bunch of dolls on it that was yellow with a dash signed Richard. You know, the -7 RFID? I visually saw that with my own eyes. I believe it was Richard Chase that put it in Autumn. And then they've been cramming her full of RFID since then. And they sit there and lie. And I don't know why my family would protect these people when there's all this money they're sitting on. You know, I'm sure my family likes money enough to frickin' realize what's going on and wake up and say, you know, look at all the inconsistent things they've done, and that's the reason why they're doing it. That's why they were panicked to try to get rid of me before I figured this out. They can't manipulate that fact. So I'm tired of having to worry about my kids every day. I don't want to have to worry about them anymore because I have to worry about my dad leaving and going and talking to somebody that's going to lie to him and manipulate him. That's got to stop. Somebody needs to get a hold of Shannon and Kim and just frickin' put them in jail if they're gonna keep doing this, or whoever's telling them wherever their source is. That I know he's getting it from Kim or Shannon. I'm pretty sure of. And that's got to stop. Enough is enough. Civilians can't go around telling lies and manipulating to try to get other civilians killed, including me and my children. We don't kill people. I'm tired of this stupid game. I'm not a PlayStation game. I'm not a Nintendo game. You know, I'm not here for other people's entertainment. Or, you know, as I said, the money is rolling in every split second that this goes on because the story alone is a money generator. And, you know, I'm just a walking dollar bill sign icon that they think they can own. I'm not a slave for presidents to own. The government could never do this to me or my children, so therefore, what you've done is illegal. What you're doing, continuing to do, is illegal, and you need to stop. Get a grip on yourselves, as I've asked you to do several times, and get a hold of these people and get them under control because they're out of control. These people around me are out of control because they don't understand between right and wrong, and they've manipulated everything. All they've done is manipulate, and there's been how many witnesses? Oh, a couple billion. And you know, I know they're trying to censor my YouTube account to only so many people watching it because I look at other people's accounts, and not that many people have looked at mine in comparison to other people's, and my story is bigger than a lot of things on the internet. I know that they're trying to control my websites so only certain people can get to them locally or something. They're trying to keep it local. So those people that I know or whatever out there try to spread the word to get my internet addresses, my MySpace and my YouTube accounts. Spread the message to have people look at those, and have, I want to get as many people networked to those accounts as possible, because that helps. So, as I said, I don't kill people, neither do my kids, and there is nothing in the law that says that people can gang up on one person and their kids to try to kill them. That's what's going on here, and it's about money. They gang up on me and my kids because they're all fighting in their love triangle and all this other stupid crap to try to kill me and my kids. And that's got to stop. You're out of control. Get a hold of yourselves and be normal.